Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, there are still no answers with regard to the New Jersey drone/UAP mystery. A lot of speculation, but absolutely no answers whatsoever. We heard again today from the Pentagon, as well as a congressman from New Jersey who had some ideas that it might be Iran behind it. We're going to get into all of that. I have received a lot of comments on Spotify and YouTube for yesterday's episode, and we'll talk about some of those comments later on. And I also today want to present a new theory that I have, which I think is valid as all these other theories that people are throwing out there, because we really don't know. All we can do is speculate. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, I want to get into what happened today and with the New Jersey congressman. It started off with that, and that's where we're going to begin. This is from Fox 29 from Philadelphia. This is an article. It says, Iranian mothership behind mystery drone sightings, New Jersey congressman suggests. And it says here, as the mystery surrounding numerous sightings of drones in New Jersey and parts of the Philadelphia area continue, a New Jersey congressman says there is circumstantial evidence suggesting the drones could be the work of a foreign adversary. Now, let me just stop there for a second. Of course, we have been talking about that. A lot of people have been talking about that. In fact, the other day I suggested that it could have been, maybe it's like some people are suggesting that it could be China, Russia, or Iran. I really don't think so. I just don't think any of those countries would be that bold or brazen to do something like that. I just don't believe it. But that's what some people are saying, including this Republican Representative Jeff Van Drew, who's a member of the House Judiciary Committee. He spoke on the recent drone sightings during an interview with Fox News' Harris Faulkner. It says, during his appearance, Van Drew cited very high sources saying that Iran had launched a mothership probably about a month ago. Mothership? What's he talking about there? Ship? Anyway, he added that the mothership carries the drones in question and that it's stationed off the east coast of the United States. Van Drew admitted there was a possibility the drones could have belonged to a hobbyist or hobbyists, but doubted that they would have the technology. We know, here's a direct quote from him. He says, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. Would they have? Would they have? We'll get into all of that in a little bit when I talk about my new theory. During his interview with Fox, Van Drew stated that Iran had made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. Van Drew said he could not identify his sources as they were speaking with him in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down, Van Drew added. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. He also added that the United States military was on alert as the investigation continues. Now, later on today, there was a press conference with Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh, and we're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to play a few clips from that because she completely debunked. She denied it. I don't know about debunked, but she denied Van Drew's assertions. Check this out.
Sabrina, can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Another thing on Congressman Jeff Van Drew, he says that the drones in New Jersey should be shot down. Is there any reason not to bring down these drones to figure out what they are?
Well, that's a decision for local law enforcement. If a drone or any activity is a threat to military installations, they always have the right for self-defense, and they can engage to respond to any potential risks. But with some of the drone activity or activities that you're referring to, there was not a threat to any military installation, so they didn't feel the need to engage.
Thanks, appreciate it. Just want to go back to the comments by Congressman Van Drew. Has the Pentagon spoken to him, or has any plans to speak to him? And is there any sense from the Pentagon that there's a frenzy, a hysteria here that's overblown in terms of some of these sightings? And has the Pentagon assessed any of them to be confirmed to be drones as opposed to aircraft or something else?
Thanks, Howard, for the question. Local law enforcement, FBI is conducting an investigation and looking into this. There's initial assessments are that these are drones and potentially, could be small airplanes. It could be a number of things that people are seeing and reporting. But again, that's for the investigation to uncover, and so I just can't speak to that more. In terms of a frenzy, I think it's completely right that people report these sightings and that there is an investigation into what they are seeing. But I think what's also important to remember is that at no time were our military installations or our people ever under any threat. And if they were, of course, the base commanders have the ability to engage these drones if they do pose a threat. Can I just go one here? And
the drone issue. If you don't know what they are, how can you say they're not a foreign adversary?
Our initial assessment is that this is not the work of a foreign adversary or a foreign entity. That is our initial assessment.
So there's that. Now, of course, the Pentagon saying no, that's not the case. There's no. Has nothing to do with Iran. That's not them. And there's no threat. They're saying there's no threat, and that's it. And local law enforcement is handling this. Now, I just want to point out that, I did put out a theory before saying that I believe that it's possible that because of all of these incursions all over the place over the past year, you really look at it, it's really been picking up. I mean, we just had all the discussion about all those incursions over military installations in the United Kingdom. We had them in Virginia late last year and earlier this year. We've been hearing reports from all over the place. We just, one of my subscribers, John Billingsley, an attorney from California, I talked about a video that he filmed recently, a giant pyramid hovering out over Los Angeles just recently. I mean, there's sightings all over the place. There's a lot of people commenting saying they're seeing stuff all over the country right now, all over the place, and other countries as well. I received comments from people saying they're seeing weird objects all over the place. In fact, I myself, just in recent weeks, as I've talked about recently, I walked out on the front porch one evening, and there, right across from me, over an open lot, I saw this weird orb floating there. I was thinking it was an airplane at first. I was waiting to see till it got closer and waiting to see flashing lights. It never happened, and the thing just moved very strangely and did a U-turn right in front of me, and then just went up on a steep climb and then just vanished. So a lot of people have been seeing weird things lately. There's been a lot of incursions over military installations. We have no answers, and now there's this New Jersey flap which is going on for like a month now, and we see that they don't know what it is. They have absolutely no answers. But this is what it could be. What could be happening here is this. You have to remember that the control group, there's most certainly a secret control group that is keeping this information, keeping the reality of the extraterrestrial / non-human intelligence among us from the public. They're reverse engineering these craft that they've recovered secretly for decades. This has been going on. A lot of us who've studied this know this for a fact, right? So there's only, I believe, a very, very small faction within the Pentagon that knows all about this, that knows what's happening. I think most people in the Pentagon don't know. They just don't have the need to know. It needs to be kept this way because of the implications. I mean, who knows? We don't know what they know. How this ever started, how this cover-up began, and how it's been able to be maintained like this legally all these decades, I don't know. I don't know who has the authority to do this. We really don't know what the answers are there. But here's what I think. I think what's going on here is that maybe because of these other incursions that have been occurring all throughout the world, maybe there's a battle going on right now. We don't even know. And in fact, a lot of people in the Pentagon don't even know it. Only the small faction that's part of the secret control group knows it, and the team that they have assembled that doesn't talk. They're not allowed to speak publicly about what they're up to and what they're doing and what their jobs are, what their missions are. They're right now using some kind of drone technology, perhaps. Maybe there were orbs that started showing up over on the East Coast. And so we have some sort of a technology now, maybe to cause these things to harm. Maybe the drones that people are seeing are actually military drones that have been developed by the United States, and they're being used as a deterrent against these orbs or these extraterrestrials, whatever they're doing. Are they checking out our military installations again? Or were they starting to show up on the East Coast? So in response, we send up some newfangled special drones, military kind of drones that we don't know what they're able to do, but we've heard the stories about a drone hovering over a car and the clock in the car not functioning correctly, like as if there was an electromagnetic pulse sent out. Who knows? It could be. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of technology that that's within these drones that acts as a deterrent to these incursions by these alien creatures. Maybe that's what's going on. There's basically a secret war right now occurring over the skies of the East Coast, over New Jersey, parts of New York, parts of Pennsylvania, and the public is completely in the dark about this. Most of the Pentagon is completely in the dark about this. Just like you hear them speak. I don't think all these people in the Pentagon know about this, like I've talked about before. It's only a small faction that knows about this. And that's what's happening. Maybe what's going on is there are people that are part of the secret control group, working with the secret control group, that are operating these drones. I mean, you just heard a report yesterday where a Congressman was talking about a police officer that said he saw 50 of these drones flying in from over the ocean. So do we have maybe a submarine or a ship out there somewhere off the East Coast that's the platform for these drones, and we're using them, we're sending them in covertly at night as a deterrent to potential alien incursions over some of these military installations? Is that what's going on? Because really none of this stuff was occurring in a lot of these other places. There was some mention of drones seen over some of those military installations in the UK, and now here we have them occurring in New Jersey, but it seems even bigger than the UK incursions. That's what it seems like now. I don't know, but that's just a theory. I mean, maybe that's what's happening. Maybe there's a concern about what these creatures are up to right now, and they're trying to deter them from who knows what. We don't know because we don't get any answers. We have no idea. I'm just wondering if that's what it is, if there's some sort of a war going on and we don't even know about it. Only the people in the control group know about it, and the aliens themselves, the aliens who are being deterred somehow by whatever technology is contained within these drones that people are seeing. I mean, because let's face it, it's not just been drones. There's been all kinds of stuff flying around. Right? I mean, people have been seeing helicopters where they usually aren't seeing helicopters. They're seeing planes where they don't usually see planes. They're seeing drones where they don't usually see drones, and they're seeing orbs where they don't. Where are they coming from? Who's operating them? So I guess that's just a theory, and we just have no idea. And I mean, for all we know, there could be some kind of giant reason why the United States has to keep this a secret. Why the secret control group needs to maintain this secret, because they just believe that there's going to be panic if they know that we're under some sort of an attack by some alien civilization. So that's the reason they want to keep it a secret. And then meanwhile, the aliens want to keep it a secret because they don't want anyone to know their covert plan to take over the world. So both of these entities, right, the control group and the aliens themselves, have differing reasons to keep this whole thing secret. The control group is concerned about perhaps the panic that would be caused by people knowing this, right? That we are under some sort of an invasion. And then the aliens, meanwhile, they don't want people to know what they're up to, that they are trying to covertly maybe take over the world. I mean, I'm not going to get into all of that today. I've talked about that before, about things like David M. Jacobs talks about the apparent process that the aliens are using to absorb mankind through their hybridization program. But I'm just wondering if that's what this is all about. You have to wonder, because I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think it's a rival country. I just can't believe that. And of course, the Pentagon's saying that that's not what it is either. I mean, that's like World War III. I mean, if China, Russia, or Iran is sending over drones over the East Coast, I mean, we're looking at war here because of this. Now, I know there's some people who want to have war with Iran. In fact, like Israel. I mean, is that one of the reasons that maybe some people are behind, like the people talking, bending Van Drew's ear behind the scenes? Are they telling him this stuff? Right? Because it's Iran, because they want to try to get people all geared up for a war against Iran. You know, we're going to have another war in the Middle East with another Middle Eastern country for decades or something. Or is that what they're trying to do that again? Is that what they're trying to do with that? Who knows? All I know is that we don't have any answers, and all we can do is speculate. Anyway, I want to get into some of the comments I've been receiving over the last few days. Actually, since yesterday, from yesterday's episode. I'm going to start off on Spotify. Slick1RU2 says, it was my understanding, and I could be wrong, but the $500,000 was for the physical equipment to down drones. Now he's talking about the yesterday's hearing with the House Homeland Security Committee, where it was stated that the FBI is spending $500,000 on equipment to down drones. Maybe I guess I stand corrected if I made a mistake during that one. Okay. And he goes on to say, the thing about it that I think is very unusual is I looked at commercial drones, and the bigger ones, their maximum flight time is 55 minutes. And this woman is talking about seeing the thing outside her window like all night long. So I know military drones can stay up a lot longer, but those are usually the fixed wing kind of drones. They're more like planes. Yeah, so that's weird about it. Like, these drones are just hanging out up in the sky all night long, just hanging out there. And usually drones don't have the capability to do that, but that's what seems to be happening. Dip says, 532 says, it can't be that hard to build an undetectable drone with enough carrying capacity to hold a few batteries. Okay. Shared Outer Space says, every man-made drone has a downlink for guidance and data transfer, video, etc. Simple SIGINT equipment will be able to detect these signals, and analysts will be able to pick apart the signals and figure out what they are. The fact that they have no answers, despite U.S. SIGINT capabilities, lead me to believe that these are non-human made, and perhaps the further these incursions go on, the higher the chance that these are alien in origin, or the simple answer, they are a black project. Like some people believe that the drones themselves could be alien constructions. We really don't know. Again, all we can do is speculate. Malcolm says, nobody is talking about Chinese heavy lift nuclear powered battery drones. Nobody is talking about the first drone only aircraft carrier built by China. Why is a county sheriff defending our country while the Department of Defense does nothing? Yeah, that's an interesting question. Joe Pez 84 says, same here in Arizona. We had drones around our restricted airspace reserved for only military aircraft. Feel like they're spying on us. Some people believe that there's somebody spying on us. Fred Bowen says, he was talking about, this is in response to Reddit. I was complaining about Reddit and the anonymous commenters on there, and how they're anything that they say, I believe for the most part, is absolutely worthless. He says, I can't even look at Reddit anymore for the exact same reasons you adeptly reference. Drones are, and then he goes on about drones. Drones are UAP. There, I said it. Deal with it, folks. The FBI is a joke, and the fact that the Department of Defense is not able to affect or explain this phenomenon says it all. We are not in control of our airspace, and that should be the headline. If I lived in New Jersey, I would be very concerned. In fact, everyone should be concerned, as this could happen over anyone's state or home. Clearly, this is not a military exercise either. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that the military would do something like this, test drones over civilian areas. I just can't see it. I don't know if I can believe that myself either. JB says, do we live in Russia? Have we all along? Want to get to the bottom of this? Subpoena hostile witnesses. Ask about crash retrieval, NHI, reverse engineering, and 100 years of lies, and we can stop screwing around lying about drones no one can figure out. Maybe NHI forcing some issues because humanity is so stupid they have to do this in a non-shocking way. Who knows? Still back page news. Control group knows they may want that blocked amendment with the amnesty in it soon enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sick of the lies too. That's we're all sick of it. We're sick of the lying about the reality in which we live, and we have the evidence in our possession now. And you would think that would be the biggest story. It is, as far as anyone should be concerned. It's the biggest story of all time. But yeah, here we are. We still don't get no answers. We have, drones or whatever they are, objects, UAP, UFOs. I think in this case in New Jersey, we're talking about UFOs, unidentified flying objects. That's what we're talking about. Not just drones. I mean, some of them are drones, obviously, but I think we're talking about unidentified flying objects. Nobody knows who's operating, where they're coming from, or why they're there. Jason L. Frederick says, this is absolutely unacceptable. This is not just on the FBI. With our trillions of dollars in military spending, we're just sitting back watching? Why isn't the Navy launching ships out there? The Air Force? What if these were carrying bombs? This is an invasion, and our government is just sitting back with hands in pockets. We look like bumbling fools, and now the entire world knows it. Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, you think about what the Pentagon said just today. Right, you think about they come out and they said, "Yep, it's up to local law enforcement." I mean, you have incursions in the United States over United States property, over the United States itself, over the continental United States, and nobody's doing anything about it. Oh yeah, it's up to local law enforcement, and the FBI is looking into it. Stuff like that we're getting. The Department of Defense is saying, "Oh yeah, they don't look like they're posing a threat." If you don't know whose they are, who's operating them, and where they're coming from, how do you know this? See, again, it comes back to my theory that I was talking about before. I mean, you would have to imagine that the people who are within the Pentagon that don't know this, that aren't read in on the program, right? They must hit a certain brick wall at points, right? Like if they get too close to something, they hit a brick wall, and they're told they can't talk about anything, and they're not allowed to know about what they don't know, right? So they just have to go with what's out there, and that they don't know anything, that there's nothing out there in the public for anyone to think about, nothing out there nothing regarding aliens. They're not allowed to even ask those kinds of questions. You have to wonder, like say you're in the FBI, right? Like you had that guy testifying yesterday for the FBI, Wheeler. Robert Wheeler. He's testifying in that House Homeland Security meeting. Now, the FBI is looking into this, and they're basically absolutely clueless, right? You would have to wonder, like, even the FBI, like, when they're during the course of their investigation, do they come up against the secret control group, and then they're told they got to turn around and walk away and don't just forget about it? You don't know about this. You can't say anything about it. This doesn't count. This isn't part of your investigation. Just shut up about it. Investigate it the way you were, but forget about us. You're not allowed to talk about us because that's above top secret, right? So you just got to carry on with everything else that you know. That's fine, but you can't talk about this, right? You can't even pretend. You can't even say that you know of somebody else that's looking into this or that might be responsible for it, but you can't say anything about it. It's none of your business. Stay away. Is that what's going on? Could be something to that effect. I don't know how it would work, but I mean that might be how it is. I mean, none of these. For one thing, right, all of these people, these spokespeople for these talk that you see for the Department of Defense or the Pentagon, whatever, speaking, right, those people don't know anything. Like that lady today, she doesn't know. Sabrina Singh, she doesn't know anything. Susan Go, she's not told that. She doesn't know what's going on, right? Patrick Ryder, he doesn't know what's going on. None of these people know what's going on. They're just spokespeople. They don't know what's going on. And I would imagine a vast majority of the people in the Pentagon aren't read in on this. They don't have the authority to understand or know anything about this issue that's all going on. Only the Secret Control Group. And the Secret Control Group could be what's responsible for these drones because there are incursions of something else in the area, and they're doing something to hurt as a deterrent against that. And maybe it's working. Maybe after all of these decades studying this secretly, right, they figured something out on how to, keep these aliens away from residential areas or something. Who knows? Well, I don't know. It's all, again, well, this is ridiculous that we have to act like this, speculate like this, but this is all we can do. All right, skipping over to YouTube, I want to talk about some of the comments I received there. Just recently, I received a comment from somebody named Very Stupid 4547. And this is what Very Stupid says. He says, in January 2005, a silent black trapezoid-shaped object between the size of a small room and a larger SUV flew over my roof. It had an amber-colored light embedded in each of its four corners. I spoke openly about it, and I've heard people suggest it was a drone. Had they seen it for themselves, they would know that wasn't a remotely viable option. The black exterior itself seemingly had some sort of glow to it. The stark contrast between it and the beautiful evening dark blue sky was unmistakable. Whatever it wasn't a drone. The bizarre quality of those amber-colored lights is something I haven't even come close to seeing again. Now, I read that comment, and that was from a different episode that I did. That was actually from the episode Gigantic Pyramid-Shaped UFO appears over the skies of Los Angeles on other sightings. That was from that episode. That person wanted me to mention that his sighting, so I just wanted to bring that up. Okay, now going to all of the comments I received. Before we go on. Yeah, that's a very interesting sighting. Obviously, this person, Very Stupid, saw something that some people would tell him it's a drone, but no, that's not what I saw. This thing was definitely not a drone. It's very upsetting when you saw something that's strange and beyond anything anybody's ever seen before, and yet nobody believes you. That's very, very upsetting. Anyway, shooting over to the comments from yesterday's episode that I have received on YouTube. Chris Lathrop says, I think the orbs were the overwhelming ET flap that they couldn't hide, so they sent out drones as a massive cover story. Seems to have worked. Yes, that was my original speculation. That's what I speculated originally, and that could be the case. I mean, why not? I mean, doesn't that confuse the issue then? If all of a sudden a whole bunch of orbs are showing up over sensitive airspace on the East Coast, just like they were showing up over in the UK, what you do then, you just send up a bunch of your own stuff, and that confuses the issue, and people are just seeing drones. And then you deny it in public when you have when you send out your spokesperson before a podium like today, and even though that person's not really lying, but that's what they're told. Oh yeah, that's not our stuff, because that's what they're told to say. They have no idea, but really it is our stuff. That could be the case too. I mean, there's so many different possibilities here, really, when you think about it. Wave Guru says, I don't understand why they can't take a helicopter up and track these UAP to see where they land and arrest the people controlling them. Yeah, you wonder, like, how come they can't? Why isn't there more being done about this? You would think there would be, but there's not. It's incredible. Let's see here. Rachel Swankowski says, think about this. If you were an alien from another planet, would you really like to land on a planet Earth that has numerous wars and crazy people trying to shoot at you? Doesn't it make more sense to send drones to prevent the death of a peaceful alien who is scared to death to land on Earth? What if they are here to help us, but because we have such distrust in each other and people are violent at the least little thing, maybe the aliens would like to reach out without having their butts put in handcuffs and possibly probed or put on display to an angry mob. So what would you do? Okay, so that's an interesting idea there. Pam Harris says, is the CIA, Pentagon, Department of Defense communicating with the FBI, HS, New Jersey, New York, or is this a repeat of non-communication like 9/11? Yeah, you have to wonder about that too. See, I don't think that they're going to make that kind of mistake twice, but hey, who knows? Maybe they are. Maybe they are making that kind of mistake. I really, it doesn't make any sense. But the Pentagon's saying, yeah, the local law enforcement's looking into it, not us. I know there's stuff coming in off we heard there's things coming in off the ocean, but we're not looking into it. Look, the cops are. We have the cops looking into it. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense, does it? That's because, again, to me, right, the Department of Defense they have to know what's going on here. They have to know what's going on here, and they can't say anything about it. Or they can't say anything about it because the control group is in control of this whole narrative, and no one's allowed to talk about this from the Pentagon. They're just they're ordered to say we have no idea what's going on or whose they are. The cops are looking into it. Maybe that's what's going on. The hemp Phil 81 says the only way they wouldn't know where these drones were launched from would be if they were launched from a submarine. It could be from a submarine, and it could be from one of our submarines, and maybe that's what they're doing. I mean, maybe there are these orb incursions, the orbs, alien crafts showing up over sensitive military areas, right? Some people have seen them hovering over reservoirs. That's concerning. And so they're showing up all over the place. And so we have a new deterrent system. And the only people that know about these deterrent system and what it's meant to do are the people in the control group. And the rest of the people in the Pentagon are just left in the dark and left to just go out there on a stage and say, they don't look like they're a threat, and the local law enforcement's looking into it. That could be it. Okay, Latchkey Hustle, a.k.a. John Billingsley, says, we've heard for years about the amazing camera systems on our satellites and how they can read a license plate from space. Why hasn't Space Force or NASA programmed any of these satellite cameras to track/follow these drones to find out where they're coming from, going to? Seems like a very basic and obvious move to me, but I haven't heard anyone mention it. Nobody has mentioned it. Randy McKernan responded to that saying, while I was in the Air Force in the 1970s, I was allowed to see film from one of our spy satellites. The detail and quality was so good that you could almost read the brand name on the cigarette pack being held by the Soviet MP standing guard above ground at an ICBM facility. It was amazing. It's hard to imagine how much we must have advanced this technology since then. Oh yeah, I bet. For all I know, there's a little camera poking, viewing me through the window from a satellite somewhere right now, and someone in the Pentagon's looking at me doing my podcast show right this minute. Yeah, most certainly. You have to wonder that you would think they'd be able to do that with their satellites. You think they'd be able to figure it out that way, but obviously we're not getting any answers. They're just leaving them in the lurch. Okay, let's see. Johnny Condor says, these apparent alien faces in certain orbs could theoretically indicate a moving time-space portal acting as a telescope lens of sorts, or perhaps a window rather than portal, would be a closer analogy. In other words, an alien could be using these things for direct observation of anything and anyone at all at literally any time and place on Earth. So basically what he's saying here is that they're basically what these orbs are is a portal, and maybe the aliens are someplace else, but their essence is inside the portal and just checking things out. Could be. Who knows? Again, all we could do is speculate. That's all we have right now. Rusty Grunner says, oh my God, that budget, $500,000. Are you kidding me? That guy had such a good point about foreign enemies having a good laugh that America still doesn't know what or whose they are after 10 days or more. It's almost a bad comedy sketch. Yeah, it is. See, again, I think that they do know, and they just can't say because the secret control group has the rest of the Pentagon's tongue. Grim7747 says, Cookies Meow is going to become a meme here on the level of coyotes and raccoons. And yes, what he's talking about was some Cookies Meow is the name of an internet rando on Reddit who I was lambasting yesterday's show, because I mean, these people act like they're experts, but nobody knows who they are. Who the hell is Cookies Meow? And maybe that is it will. I mean, and the coyotes and raccoons. That's what Mick West said was that the Kenmore family saw in their backyard last year. It wasn't aliens. It was probably coyotes and raccoons. And that's all it was. Right now, as we all know, Mick West was absolutely wrong. Keith Taylor says, so frustrating to not hear UAP once during this hearing that discussed New Jersey UAP incidents. Drone to UAP is like a circle to a square. One of these things is not like the other. Yeah, that was weird, isn't it? I mean, all we hear now is drone. They don't even say UAP. They're not even calling any of these sightings referring to any of them as UAP or UFOs. I think in this case they would be more appropriately called UFOs for the most part, because nobody knows what they are or who's operating them. They call them drones. They think they're drones. They look like drones somewhat, but are they drones? How do you know? You don't know. When you have one in your hand and you could read the serial numbers on it, or maybe then you could say that, but you can't say it without having one in your possession. Robert Logsden says, I think it's alien and our government doesn't know how to respond without triggering a war we can't win. Yeah, now some people have been saying this, that actually the aliens are mimicking our technology and really it's their technology, but it just looks like our stuff. That's another theory. There's so many different theories. See, this is what happens when you don't get answers from your government. There's this wild speculation. How many different angles have we looked at just so far here in this show? I mean, it's ridiculous. Jordy Anderson says, if mystery airships were contemporary to people in the 1890s, maybe what we're seeing is the same thing but contemporary to our age. Drones. Yeah, maybe there's another angle. I mean, the great airship mystery of 1896 and 1897. People were seeing what looked like, blimps, back, that they were in a during that period of time, people were working on constructing blimps. But all of a sudden, even though no one heard of anyone making one yet, or successfully, there weren't really that many. There were some experiments, but nothing major. But in 1896, 1897, people were seeing these things all over the place. But no one ever stepped up to say, yeah, that was mine. That never happened. Instead, it looked like that maybe some people believed that it was aliens themselves just mimicking what we were trying to do. And maybe that's the same thing that's happening right now. All we can do is speculate because our government doesn't give us any answers. They don't tell us the truth. They won't even talk about the real creatures, the real non-human intelligence among us, even though we have the absolute proof that shows that they're here. They don't talk about that with us. They tell us they don't have any evidence. They just basically blatantly lie to us regularly. Christiana says, drones in the sky, why? Someone needs to make one of those joke songs about this. Yeah, maybe we need to make a song about drones. Utah John says, thanks. I saw where some civilian drones are not functional in part of New Jersey now. I assume the Department of Defense or FBI frequency jamming. Is this a control group diversion to hide something else? Just noticed toward end you mentioned possible control group diversion as well. Yes, could be. I don't know. Yeah, that's another weird thing that's been happening. Some people's drones are failing to operate in that area for some strange reason. How is that possible? Again, all we could do is speculate. Frankie A says, my understanding is that the government, police, and FBI don't know where the drones take off from or where they land. How can that be? Can these be extraterrestrial aircraft designed after our own aircraft? See, a lot of people are thinking the same thing here. Additionally, they also appear to be large enough to be manned. Also, yeah, that's the other thing. I don't like how they say they're unmanned. They're UASs or UAVs, UASs, whatever. Yeah, UASs. Unmanned aircraft system. But how do you know they're unmanned if you don't you never, how do you know that for a fact? That there's never any information provided that would answer that question ever. Also, it has been mentioned that once they are spotted flying by someone, they go dark. Yeah, that's another thing. The governor, Phil Murphy, was talking about how, when people look at them and they try to spot them, and all of a sudden they go dark, like they know that you're looking at them. What kind of technology has that ability? This gets stranger by the second. Yeah, maybe the drones themselves are extraterrestrial in nature. Maybe they're extraterrestrial constructs. T-Bone says, do you honestly think they are this damn incompetent or just playing dumb? I responded, maybe both. Christiana responded saying, I'm praying they are just playing dumb. If not, we are all in deep, you-know-what. Okay, Nurse Diesel says, $1 billion budget and they opened a helpline? Thank God the FBI is there to help with their tactical recording machine response. Yeah, there's a line you could call up to the FBI. Hey, FBI, there's drones outside my house floating up. What are they going to do? They only got $500,000 to work with. Okay, Emery Clifton says, I know this brings us into realms of science fiction, but is it not conceivable that NHI is mimicking our inventory? See, there's a lot of people who are thinking that. That's a lot of people who are saying that same thing. Gold Medal AI says, they're finally going to start revealing themselves to us, possibly. That could be it. Maybe that's what they're working themselves up for. Maybe this is the beginning of the change, as David Jacobs talked about. And the secret control group is trying to do everything it can without telling anybody what it's doing to prevent that from happening. Who knows? Okay. Terrence Willis says, these clowns are like watching Scooby-Doo, except Scooby-Doo actually solved mysteries. That's so true. Let's see. Al1383 says, I've worked at Langley Air Force Base. They have 2 jets in a hangar that they rotate firing up hourly, so they're always ready if needed. Why wouldn't they go check the drones out? Makes no sense. Well, I guess there's another concern there too, and that was brought up during that press conference today, where I guess one of the concerns would be that if you shoot something down over a residential neighborhood, that somebody could get hurt. Maybe that's one of the considerations with that. Paul Coleman says they're not just on the East Coast, they're here in Minnesota also. See, there's a lot of people seeing these things everywhere right now. Billy 111 says, at first I thought they were drones, but the spheres and the inability of the authorities is causing some doubt. Yes, it is causing doubt. Okay, you even had a suggestion today made by someone in Congress saying that he heard it might be Iran, which I don't believe in. Right when I heard that, I didn't believe it. But you had that suggestion made, but then you had the Pentagon come out and say, nope, it's not theirs. It's just not theirs. They have no idea whose it is. Charles Bluthfield says they have no clue. They don't know where they are coming from, what they are doing, who is responsible, and how to bring them down. A double-barreled or blunderbuss would do the trick. I listened intently and in good faith and learned next to nothing. This is dangerous. Yes. Yeah, we learned nothing during the hearing yesterday. Emery Clifton says this could turn out to be very fascinating and life-changing. Yes, maybe. Darger3 says, stay on it, man. I check your channel and Spotify every day looking for a true analysis. We all appreciate the work. Well, thank you very much for that comment. And Bill Davis says, Wheeler can't even answer a question. This is outrageous. Yes, Wheeler couldn't answer a question. It's, is it his fault? Or did he come up against that brick wall that I was talking about earlier? Like, you would have to imagine that if you're someone who works in the federal government and you're investigating these kinds of things, at some point you're going to come up against the secret control group and you're going to be turned around. You're going to be told to turn around. You saw nothing. You know nothing about us. Don't ever say anything about this, or you'll be thrown in prison for the rest of your life. That's a possibility. And the FBI and everybody else in government, only the secret control group has been given authority over all of this for some reason by somebody in the long past, who knows who, and somehow it's just maintained all these years like this. They've been able to maintain that authority and power all this time, and they're in control of this situation, and they can't tell us anything. They don't care if there's people like me or all these other people out there talking about the aliens and stuff, as long as I think what could be going on here is they don't want any sort of official acknowledgement. They're afraid of giving any official acknowledgement. They don't care about unofficial evidence, right? That's put out unofficially, right? Like if anybody out there puts out any information with regard to aliens, say someone finds one in their backyard, right? Say someone finds a dead alien being in their backyard. I don't think the government's concerned about that. They're just going to continue. At this point, I really don't think they are. They don't care if we find out about this ourselves at this point. I don't think they're worried about the public saying anything. They're just not going to acknowledge it officially, because you have to understand from their situation, you have to imagine this could be a lot more complicated than a lot of people understand. If these aliens are, if there is this hybridization program like David M. Jacobs talked about, right, and they have these half human, half aliens living amongst us right now, that means they're like spies all throughout, scattered out throughout the globe right now. That's what that would mean. And you would have to act stupid about this if you're in the government. You would have to act like you know nothing about this, because you're trying to figure out how to combat this from a secret place that you can't let the aliens know about. That could be what's going on here. That could be something that's one of the reasons for this continued secrecy, in addition to concerns that these people are going to be in trouble for keeping this from the public and keeping it from Congress all these years too. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of different considerations. We just don't know. All we can do is speculate, and it's getting out of hand, as you could plainly see, because all these sightings of, quote, drones, end quote, who knows? Why are they out there? What's the reason for it? It's anybody's guess is as good as anybody else's guess at this point. All we can do is speculate, and it's gotten out of hand, obviously, way out of hand. Okay, I want to get caught up on my recent Spotify polls, and we're going to shoot back to that. Okay, we'll start with the episode Gigantic Pyramid-Shaped UFO Appears Over the Skies of Los Angeles and Other Sightings. I asked this question: are the extraterrestrials / NHI trying to send a message via all these recent appearances? 42 votes so far. 12 people, or 28.6%, say no, while 30 people, or 71.4%, say yes. I don't know at this point. I mean, let me think about this one. Are the extraterrestrials trying to send a message via all these recent appearances? I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Could be. I really don't know. I'm not sure which one to decide on here, the yeses or the nos. I don't know. I should have had a maybe in there. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes I have a yes and no question that I put on the Spotify poll, and then I later end up regretting that I didn't have a maybe on there, because I think I would probably have to go with maybe. Okay, for the episode, Pentagon announces a classified strategy to counter drone incursions. I asked this question: what's your favorite Pentagon excuse for UFOs? Okay, 35 votes so far. Let's see. 0 people say planets. 0 people say weather inversion. You know what? I might have thought about weather inversion. I think that's a really stupid one. That's a good one. Anyway, 2 people, or 5.7%, they love when they say it's hallucinations. 3 people, or 8.6%, say they love the excuse of birds. That's a good one. 7 people, or 20%, say they love the balloon explanation. 8 people, or 22.9%, says their favorite one is drones. They love that explanation. But the majority, 42.9%, or 15 people, say swamp gas. That's their favorite Pentagon excuse for UFOs. Swamp gas. Yeah, that was a good one. You got to give it to J. Allen Hynek for that. He's the one who came up with that. I think he was under pressure to come up with an excuse. He just pulled that one out of thin air because he needed to say something back in 1966. Okay, for the episode, artificial intelligence recognizes tall alien present in Vegas video. I asked this question: why did an alien craft filled with NHI land in the backyard of a Las Vegas family last year? And there's 23 votes so far. 2 people, or 8.7%, say ETs wanted to disclose. 3 people, or 13%, say other. Another 3 people, or 13%, say a military shot it down. And we're going to talk about that in a second. And then the majority, 15 people, or 65.2%, say craft malfunction. I mean, think about what's going on. I'm just going to stop right here and talk about this for a second. Think about that for a minute. What if that's what happened? What if that's what happened in Vegas last year? What if it was something the military did? Some sort of weapon they employed. And that's what brought that craft down that comes smashing in someone's backyard. Maybe that is why they're not doing anything over in New Jersey right now. Maybe that explains everything. Maybe the drones are secret control group operated, and there are aliens out there hovering around, and they are using the secret control groups using the drones as a deterrent, but they're afraid to do anything over a residential neighborhood, or they might have another Las Vegas alien incident on their hands, and then a lot of explaining to do. Maybe that's what happened. I mean, think about it. It happened in Nevada, where Area 51 is very hop, skip, and a jump away from Vegas, right? Obviously, the aliens are interested in our installations, and obviously, I'm sure there's been reports of crashes out in the desert before. Maybe that's what this is all about. I'm going to go with military shot it down somehow. Who knows? Maybe using EMP. Who knows? It's something. They could have done something that caused that thing to come, making that hard landing in the backyard. Okay, now moving on to the next one. For the episode, we need to talk about the New Jersey drones. Also, Las Vegas alien skepticism confronted. I asked this question: do you believe the Pentagon is capable of testing military drones over civilian regions? 48 votes so far. 12 people, or 25%, say no, while 36 people, or 75%, say yes. Yeah, I think it's possible. I agree with the majority on that one. Yeah, I think it's possible. I think we might actually be seeing it in the East Coast right now. We might be seeing. That's what we might be seeing. And then for the episode, yesterday's episode, FBI is utterly clueless about who or what is responsible for the New Jersey drones. I asked this question: will the mystery of the New Jersey drones ever be satisfactorily resolved? 25 votes. 11 people, or 44% say yes, while 14 people, or 56%, say no. So a majority saying no. I'm going to agree with the majority here. I don't think it's going to be satisfactorily resolved. I believe we're going to be told some kind of lie at some point about it. We'll get a half truth maybe, but I don't think we're ever going to I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't think the government just never tells us the truth when it comes to UFOs. They never, ever. The Pentagon, like I've stated many times before, when it comes to UFOs and aliens, the Pentagon, you can't trust the Pentagon. They're not going to tell you the truth about it. They're just not. Not anytime soon, anyway. I don't think in my lifetime. Maybe at some point in the distant, way distant future, right? When it's all, when everything, they can't hide it anymore. Then they'll be more upfront about it. But at this, I don't think we're ever going to be. I don't think this New Jersey drone issue is ever going to be satisfactorily resolved. So I agree with the majority. No. All right. Anyway, I want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.